Welcome back to Spike Power Driver Wrestling. My name is Anders, and today it's episode number 3 of ECW on Pro Wrestling Sim. If you enjoy this series, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, check out the playlist, check out the Patreon link in the description down below. We are getting straight into things as we begin the show. Last week on ECW, we get a highlights package from the events of last week. Big Show defeating the Sandman, Rob Van Dam winning the main event, Kurt Angle confronting RVD, but both men getting attacked by the Big Show before Sabu makes his return at the end of the show. We start out with a 76 for our first angle of the night, recapping what you saw in the previous video. We move on to our opening contest as CM Punk makes his debut against Just Incredible. He makes light work of the former ECW champion, and the former Impact player can barely get started before Punk picks up the victory with a submission from the Anaconda Vice. They've got terrible chemistry, timing all over the place, an inauspicious start as Punk makes his debut. He was made to look like a threat, really helped. He got a better reaction because he's riding a wave of momentum, but the terrible chemistry did not help. 76 again for the crowd reaction, but this time gets a final score of 58%, a 1.5 star match. Disappointing because of that chemistry note, but Punk can continue, hopefully, getting better reactions than that. It's not his fault, I'd say it's probably down to Just Incredible. We'll continue and see how we can push him going forward. We move on as Test attacks RVD, but that's not the beginning of the angle. RVD starts out by being interviewed by Kelly. He welcomes his old friend Sabu back to ECW, and he can see the line of challengers forming up outside of his door. He knows that Kurt Angle wants the shot. It's very clear that the Big Show wants one as well, and he knows it won't be long until Sabu makes his intentions clear. What RVD doesn't mention, though, is Test, who appears out of nowhere and cracks the champion in the face with a big boot. He launches RVD around before telling Kelly that he will be the one taking on RVD tonight, and when he pins him, he will be the new #1 contender. Nice little collection of ratings here. The RVD interview gets a 75, the attack gets an 83, Test little promo afterwards gets an 81, better on the mic than RVD by the sounds of it, and then the match being confirmed gets a 65. Overall though, 77, good stuff. We move on to see a tag team contest as the last ECW tag team champions of the old era were in action against former WWE tag team champions, the Basham Brothers. Doring and Roadkill had home field advantage, that much was for sure, and after a good back and forth it was wham, bam, thank you ma'am for the Basham Brothers as Roadkill and Doring get the victory and move on. Another 1.5 star match, slightly better than the opening contest. Crowd reaction wasn't as good though. They weren't really into it. Got a 51. Overall, 54. Okay. Tag team division is fledgling. I think that's for certain. And we see more of the tag team division as, just like last week's, the Untouchables swarm the ring with attacking another tag team after they picked up a victory. Deuce and Domino attack Doring and Roadkill, but things don't get that far as Brett and Brian Majors rush down to make the save as they chase the Greasers away. The attack gets a 44, the save gets a 74, and overall we go 84. So not too bad. We're building up the tag team division obviously here, so we are going to keep building this up. Fledgling, as I mentioned, fledgling tag team division. We're going to crown some tag team champions at Heatwave, hopefully. This next match is entirely a Mike Knox showcase. He takes little to no punishment at all against his opponent, Roughhouse Riley, who is Connor from the Ascension, I believe. Don't quote me on that. And he gets all his stuff in before getting the victory in this match. Too short to get a real good match out of it. Gets a half star for the match quality. Crowd reaction is 55. Overall, 47. But this wasn't about... well, it didn't actually work either because it was about getting Mike Knox over and it didn't have any impact whatsoever. Moving on as he celebrates his victory, but Tommy Dreamer storms into the ring. Knox just manages to get out of dodge as Dreamer swings wildly with a Singapore cane, and Dreamer chases him out of the ring. He grabs a microphone and he wants revenge, and he wants it next week on Sci-Fi, and it's made official. Dreamer and Knox is announced, and only gets a 27, which is disappointing. The attack, or the chase rather, gets a 69. The promo gets a 76. Overall, a 60. Building up for next week, whereas Dreamer takes on Mike Knox. And speaking of next week, Dusty and Cody Rhodes are with Kelly. The American Dream announces that his son Cody will be making his in-ring ECW debut next week. But before we can find out his opponent, the full-blooded Italians barge in. That's Little Guido, Tony Marmaluke, Big Guido and Trinity. Little Guido squares up to Cody Rhodes, possibly at his chest, who really knows. And it looks like this will be the youngster's debut match next week. The Cody and Dusty promo gets an 86. The stare down from the FBI gets a 57, and the match being made official gets a 19. So next week I will not be using those little match is made angle beats because they do not get good ratings. 61 overall, a real shame. Never mind. We did use the match being made official here, and it's with Paul Heyman making it official. So maybe we just need to have someone announcing it as the person who's making the match official. Joey Styles, that's going to be you, possibly. Or maybe Kelly. We'll see. Heyman announces that there will be some sort of number one contenders decision made next week, not last week. If Test can pin RVD in tonight's main event, then he will obviously get the shot at the world title. But the future for Big Show, Kurt Angle, Sabu, and Sandman, and the whole rest of the roster will be determined, and we will know exactly who will be facing RVD and or Test at Heatwave on August 5th. This is making Heatwave, the pay-per-view, official for August 5th in a few weeks' time. Heyman makes the match, 78%. Not bad. Not bad. And we go into a main event of RVD against Test, which gets 2.5 stars. Crowd absolutely love it. Test looks to take advantage of his earlier attack and comes out of the gate like a house on fire. RVD withstands the early storm and fights back, and we get a competitive back and forth until the champion shows his real, true level. Quick flurry of offense from Van Dam ends with a 5-star frog splash, and the champion wins our non-title main event. He was made to look like a threat, and they have good chemistry. It really helped. 100 for the crowd reaction, 83 if we're using the absolute value. Gets a 76 overall, which is a great way to close the show, but we haven't closed the show just yet, because RVD grabs his world title. He celebrates in the ring, but the ring quickly fills up with a Pier 6 brawl, essentially. Big Show, Angle, Sabu, and even the Sandman hit the ring as all chaos breaks out. 5 men are engaged in a massive brawl, which only stops when we get the arrival of a new ECW superstar. It's Jeff Hardy, the charismatic enigma. He makes his way out, he dances his way through the entrance, and we are out of time. 79, we started off with a good 79. 73 for the brawl, 65 for Jeff's entrance, and we get a 71 to close the show, and that gives us 55 overall. Would have obviously been a 74 with the production not limiting our growth, but it's good stuff. We've got lots of stuff on the deck for next week. We're going to have Cody Rhodes making his debut against Little Guido, Dreamer against Mike Knox, and some sort of number one contendership match between everyone. See you next week. Thanks a lot for watching. If you've enjoyed this episode of ECW, make sure you subscribe, like the video, check out the Patreon. Everyone else who's clicked the Patreon and joined us over there, their names are on screen right now. And I will see you next week for some more Extreme Championship Wrestling on Pro Wrestling Sim. Thanks for watching.